Hey guys, Icy here. In this video, I want to talk about Freya, my PvP Warden support. Now, I choose the word support because she has two modes, one being offensive with our Frost Staff, where she can provide AoE snares, immobilizations, and stuns, as well as being able to provide a ton of debuffs onto your enemies, and the defensive mode with our Restoration Staff, where she can also function as an off healer to help keep the team alive. She won't be the best healer because a lot of our stat investment goes toward our own damage mitigation. I've had a lot of fun playing this build over the last month, and I really enjoy the new playstyle. It functions really well when you want to do 2vx or just small scale content in Citadel or Imperial City. And before we jump into the build, I just want to make a note that I will be doing commentary in a separate video covering actual gameplay. Timestamps will be in the description below. So if you look at the table, we are running a full monster set, which can be either Baron Thirsk or Nunatak. On our body and necklace, we are using Kind Marcher's Cruelty, and of course Snow Treaders on the boots, one piece of Trainee ring, and then we are doing a 3-piece Potentates with one ring and front bar Restoration Staff, as well as a back bar Frost Staff. Now, the main trait I want to talk about is for the body pieces. If you haven't seen my video on Reinforced versus Nirnhone, definitely give it a watch. It's a short video, but it will explain why I placed them in particular armor slots. Now, as to why I wanted these armor traits, I was aiming to get myself as close to max resistances as possible. That way we can be tanky up in the front line when we're mixing it up with our allies. A lot of the debuffing requires you to be up close, which exposes us, so I wanted to be a minimum of max resistances, which we can achieve when adding up the Mundus, armor weights, and traits. For the monster set, my primary choice is the Baron Thirsk, and I'll do my best to summarize the set here. On dealing area direct damage, mark a target for 6 seconds. Every 2 seconds, an explosive scamp is spawned nearby and detonates after 1 second within 4 meters, applying minor timidity for 10 seconds, draining 1 ultimate every 1.5 seconds. This can occur once every 25 seconds. So the way I proc the set is by using either Frost Pulsar or Unstable Wall of Elements. I've never had a problem hitting someone with this proc. It's been very easy from my experience. The only change I'd make to this set is to lower the cooldown from 25 seconds to 15 seconds. And the secondary monster set is Nunatak, which reads, on dealing frost damage, create a 6-meter area under the target for 6 seconds, dealing frost damage to enemies every 1 second, and applying a stacking 25% snare for 4 seconds. At the 4th stack, the enemy is immobilized and gains major brittle, causing the target to take 20% increased critical damage. This can occur once every 15 seconds. I like this set, however, it is damn near impossible to get major brittle on targets because everyone is so mobile, which is why I prefer to use this set in the objective BG modes like Domination and Crazy King. If people have a reason to stand their ground trying to capture an objective, then they're most likely going to sit in the AoE and tank it out. It also helps to provide AoE zone control, forcing people to move off the objective if they don't want to sit in it. For the 5-piece set, we are using Kind Marcher's Cruelty. When you deal direct damage, you apply one of the 5 major debuffs to enemies within 8 meters of you for 18 seconds. This can occur once every 8 seconds, and the major debuffs are Major Breach, Cowardice, Defile, Maim, and Vulnerability. I think when you play a debuff type support, you almost have to wear this set simply because the major debuffs are really strong, and it's really not a big deal if there are multiple people wearing this set because it will just refresh an existing debuff or place a different debuff on that target. I would also like to mention that I think they should make a change to this set. I would remove Major Breach and throw in Major Timidity instead. Now, that debuff does not exist currently, but I think it would be a great place to introduce it. Kind Marchers is considered the opposite of Daedric Trickery, and the opposite of Major Heroism would be Major Timidity, and we already have a ton of sources of Major Breach, whether it comes from a skill or a set. For the Mythic, y'all already know I'm never taking off Snow Treaders, so don't even bother asking me to try something different. But if you wanted to try something else yourself, then I recommend either Ring of the Wild Hunt or Death Dealer's Feet. For the weapons and jewelry, we are actually going to make full use of Potentates, so we get the damage mitigation as well as the 15% cost reduction for our ultimate. The main reason why is so I can synergize it with the Imperial's racial passive called Red Diamond, which reduces our abilities by 6%, which does include our ultimates. I think it's super underrated when I can cast my Life Giver at 100 ultimate instead of 125 and my Permafrost at 160 instead of 200. It's extremely useful, and part of the reason Freya can still function as a healer because of how low cost her ultimate is with Life Giver can kind of make it a pretty good spammable. Alternatively, if you didn't want to use Potentates, you could be using 2 of the other 3-piece sets. For example, you can do a front bar Restoration Staff of Willpower to help boost your heals, and then a back bar Frost Staff of Endurance to help make you more tanky while you are in the front line debuffing and taking damage. Now for the skills, on the front bar we have our powered Restoration Staff, and we have the first slot, which is a Flex Spot, followed by Shimmering Shield, Deceptive Predator, Radiating Regeneration, Ice Fortress, and Life Giver for our ultimate. The Flex Spot, you can obviously run whatever you want. However, I've had the most success using Illustrious Healing, Enchanted Growth, Budding Seeds, and Bursting Vines. On the back bar, we have our Infused Ice Staff with a Frost enchantment. The first is Frost Pulsar, followed by Unstable Wall of Elements, Arctic Winds, Overflowing Altar, Blue Betty, and Permafrost for our ultimate. Frost Pulsar is very unique because it instantly implies Minor Mangle on the target, lowering their max HP by 10%, which is the opposite of the Warden's Minor Toughness. And it's also helpful to know that this will also proc Chilled for the Minor Maim and Minor Brittle. And when you're wearing Baron Thirsk and Kind Marchers, which is 2 more debuffs, so with a click of a button, you can apply 5 status effects to your target. I think that's pretty good. Unstable Wall of Elements is great because it can provide AoE zone control as well as provide immobilizations on your target. I've had some people in Discord call me a rat several times because I was very annoying with the roots. I think that's pretty good feedback. Next is Arctic Blast. I'm using because of the stun that can sometimes occur. They are nerfing it next patch so that the stun requires 5 ticks instead of 3, which is unfortunate. But if I was going to run this on another class with the same setup, then this slot would be intended for a burst heal like Coagulating Blood or Ritual of Rebirth. Overflowing Altar we are using so we can place the Minor Lifesteal on all of our enemies within the area, and the Blood Feast synergy that it provides to allies is a really nice emergency burst heal if they need it. Now for the Netch, I am a notorious Bull Netch user on the Mag Warden, but because we are using Magicka a bit more aggressively, I found it more appropriate to use the Betty in this scenario since we aren't really blocking too much with how tanky we actually are. And finally, the Permafrost, which helps to provide our massive AoE snare for 12 seconds. This is great to use offensively to help your team secure kills on targets. For the champion points in the Warfare tree, I pretty much always go for damage mitigation nodes. So for this build, we are using Resilience, Duelist Rebuff, Ironclad, and Unassailable. In the fitness tree, we are using Boundless Vitality, Fortified, and Celerity. The last CP can be whatever you want, but I usually go for Spirit Mastery so I can get a fast resurrection combined with the Battle Resurrection passive, which can be found in the support skill line. Alright, so that is the end of the build video. Let me know what you guys think, or if you have any PvP healer questions you'd like me to answer. See ya.